Explosive beginning there, General Shankar. Welcome back, audiences. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever in the world you may be. Welcome to this collaboration between Gunners Short and Chakra News. I am Sandeep Punitan, and if it's Saturday morning, I am joined by Lieutenant General P.R. Shankar. General Shankar, welcome back.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. And it was, in fact, I must tell everyone, it was a pleasure to meet Sandeep a few days back. We had a long chat, a couple of hours, and we discussed a lot of things. And at
Absolutely,
the
a
end,
fascinating discussion. Yeah.
yeah, fascinating discussion we had. And then finally, yesterday night, Sandeep said, we'll talk of Trump versus the world. And so I said, yeah, I think it's a great thing with the way things
Yeah.
are going in the world. Let's start.
Yeah, absolutely. Jan Shankar, in the just to set up the discussion, I this morning I was just thinking about our topic about Trump versus the world, and I thought of Trump as an assassin's bullet. And I'll give you the background to this. 110 years, 111 years ago, you remember this guy called Gabriel Princip who fired that shot at the Archduke Franz Ferdinand, and he killed the Archduke and his wife Sophie. Those two bullet shots, the .38 ACP that he fired, they triggered off the world that we saw after that, right? A non-stop cascade of events beginning from 1914, which ended somewhere in 1945. So it was more than 3 decades of non-stop, two wars, two of the most consequential wars in human history. Millions, tens of millions of people killed, empires have collapsed, new world orders have risen. And what we are seeing in 2026, 1 year of Trump, is an end to that post 1945 era. And that was so beautifully called out by the Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney when he said that if you're not at the table, you're on the menu. And that's the kind of uh, world that he outlined. Obviously, it is about the fear of the United States acting as a predatory hegemon, as a lot of people have said. So the topic today is Trump that metaphor, that bullet that we saw more than 100 years back? Has he changed the world order in the sense that what he's been doing in the last 1 year, he's forcing countries to come together? We're going to talk about that, and my question, of course, to you will be how India played it. Very interesting. A lot of our viewers want to know how India played this one over the last 1 year plus. 8 months, if you can look at it from the start point of Sindoor, when we figured that things in Washington were not what we imagined they would be. So, without much ado, Jan Shankar, let's start the ball rolling, and tell us about what Trump is up to. I must tell our viewers here that General Shankar does not believe that Trump is some kind of a loose cannon, and he's doing he's being whimsical about what he does. He's working to a plan, and today we're going to talk about what Trump's plan really is. There is a method to this madness. It might appear to be very random, but all of this is deeply anchored in a lot of thought about where the United States wants to be in the next couple of decades, and it is possibly laying the foundation for that new world order. So, Jan Shankar, over to you.
Oh, thanks a lot, Sandeep. Thanks for putting that into perspective. Trump is not a madman and where we look at chaos in the madness. No,
Yes.
he's come with a plan, and I have to go back a little into his story, and then we'll see where it is. You have to understand Trump. Look, you're looking at a
Hmm.
person who gets defeated after being a president, and
Right.
normally after getting defeated, a man doesn't make a comeback, but he's made a comeback.
Right.
He's got the popular majority back on his side, right? Okay. It's not only that his popular mandate is such that he gets the Senate and the Congress, right? Republicans, and in between he goes through a place where he's not only indicted but he's convicted of being a felon.
Right.
Look, he's a
Right.
convicted felon. Okay,
Right. Right.
right, and yet he comes back out of it. It's not a mean achievement. I mean, it's an extraordinary achievement comeback. You have to understand that. Such comebacks don't happen without planning, thought process, and whatever. Call it social engineering, call it political engineering, whatever you call it. In India, we call it so much things, but it is organized.
Right.
Means he's got a core set of people who thought through this in the last 4 years. Plus the fact that he had enough money to back him, and he's got enough backers to back him. That's the thing. He's got a whole lot of people in America backing his line of thought. Now, that's the larger picture. So even now, there are a whole lot of people who are backing his line of thought and action.
Right.
Not line of thought, but line of action. One must be clear about that. Now, the next thing is what people tell me is that there are, when the Republicans in the past 4 years have thought the whole story out, that they need to change the way America is behaving to regain their mojo. Remember, this is something which people don't understand, and people will call me a guy who backs America and all that. But that's part of the game when you're doing such discussion. You see, in the recent history, which you said, right from First World War, when those two bullets were fired, and a whole lot of things have happened. Which is that country which went through maximum reverses and came back up trumps again? You'll see it's America.
Yeah,
America.
absolutely. It was the rise of America was the First World War as a global.
Not only that, it went through Pearl Harbor, it went through WTC, it went through reverses in Vietnam, it went through reverses in Afghanistan, and the global financial crisis. Whole lot of this thing, and it has evolved. It has evolved every time stronger than before.
Yes.
Okay, this is an American characteristics which many people chose not to believe, or rather wish it away. So you're looking at that kind of a thing, and I think somewhere, and you also saw in the preceding 4 years of Biden tenure, China getting an upper hand and China talking, big, without looking into the inconsistencies and weaknesses of China, which are now coming forth. Let me tell you, I've been always saying that China is a pack of cards, stack of cards. And those cards and dominoes are falling apart now. So that's going to happen, but that's a different day's story. Let's get back to USA. So I think in this past 4 years, when Trump was, coming back, they put together a plan. A set of people put together a plan, and they gave two options to Trump. One was to regain the economic mojo through FTAs and things like that, and have a softer approach to the world. The second was the tariff route. And Trump chose the tariff route, which was it is very clearly he said, I will rebuild America through the tariff routes. It's a conviction, it's a plan. It's not one day in the morning Trump wakes up and says, I'll tariff the world. It's a plan. So that's the first part one should understand. The second part one should understand very clearly is that other things apart, Trump, as a president in the first term and in the second term, he has given unstinted support to the military.
Right.
Absolute, no questions asked. Okay, he could debate about everything else, but not about the military and his military machine. And he very clearly keeps saying, I will have the biggest military machine on earth. Very clearly, he says, there's no ambiguity in that, and he proves it. And after all, he's now given a $1.5 trillion budget for the military with no questions asked. So that commitment to that cause has always been there. Okay, and then I've always believed that Trump was out to destroy China. I've always believed that.
Absolutely. We'll talk about that as well.
Yeah, I've always believed that he had with no this thing that he will, right? But in the process, he also probably understood that America has a debt which is probably unsustainable. He had to reverse it. And people in America were losing jobs. How do you create jobs? Jobs, or not all jobs can be created in the tech and the financial sector. People
Right.
have to work on the streets, people have to work in factory floors and all. And he's got this genuine thing that I should reindustrialize America.
Right.
The America which has lost its mojo to China was because of its loss of industrialization. So he's got
Hmm.
this. We might disagree with his thought process, we might disagree with his methods, but not the fundamental thought process of what he's doing for his country. He's not doing it for India. So you know, you also want to industrialize. Don't we want to
Yeah.
industrialize in India? Same thing he's looking. So he's doing it. But in the larger thing, this is the way I have always felt that look, he is going on a particular path. And very interestingly, he stuck to that path. He stuck to this path. Yeah, in India, we might not agree with this path because, you know, there's a flip. If you go back 1 year back at this time, last year, we were very happy with Trump coming back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. We were
We were very
cheering
happy.
his. Yeah. We thought his second term is going to
We
be
were
very
very
good for
happy.
us. Right.
Okay. But the flip has happened. The next thing about this Trump administration, which people have to understand, the difference between Trump 1 and Trump 2.0. In this intervening 4 years, he's also put a set of guys whom he calls as loyalists, whatever it is, and they're working to his plan without
Yeah.
a thing. You know, in the first term, he had 3 secretaries, defense secretaries. He had 4 secretaries of state. You know, everyone was changing. No one knew who was what. He didn't have a team. He didn't have a team in the first tenure.
Right.
Now he has a team which is playing to a tune, and the tune
Right.
is being set up by Trump, and the tune is set up by, I think, call it a deep state, call it a think tank, call it a set of his close circle, which is put out a script, and that script is being played out with a few variations. So I wouldn't call him an assassin's bullet in the way
Right.
he is. You know, you mentioned about that guy
Yeah.
who shot the Archduke of Austria. Okay, this is more of a planned disruption.
Planned
A
disruption.
planned
Okay. Interesting.
disruption.
Right. Right.
And you know, you guys like Elbridge Colby and you know,
Yeah.
even
Yeah.
Navarro. Navarro is part of his deep think tank. Okay,
Right.
all these guys were part of that. Even Sergio Gore, who was the ambassador here, was part of that
Yes.
tank. You know, he was
Yes.
part of the political issue. So all these guys put together something which is being played out.
Right.
Okay. Well, uh, some of these things have gone well. Some of these things have not gone well.
Right.
You know, I'll get back to the heading of our thing: Trump versus the world.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, when you started Trump, everyone was okay with Trump. Even when
Yeah.
he announced the tariffs, Europe was okay. Europe went and did a deal. South Korea did a deal. Japan did a deal. Everyone did a deal with Trump with whatever they understood. Okay, we'll do a deal because it was a matter of this thing. And of course, it was only India which went the opposite
Right.
side.
Yeah.
Right, and Sindoor compounded it, and we are where we are. But that's okay. That's a different story altogether. But the fact is, after that, I think somewhere Trump lost his, I wouldn't say plot, his veered off course to get all his allies and friends against him.
Hmm.
That's one part of the story. And he's
Right.
acquired friends which he probably didn't bargain for, right? And
Which one? Which are these friends you didn't bargain for?
see, I don't think he bargained for a friend like Pakistan. I don't think he bargained. I don't think he, you know, see, who are his friends today? His friends are those people who already signed on the board of peace. No one
Oh,
else
yeah.
is his.
Absolutely. I was going to say that. The 20 odd nations who have signed on,
Sure.
Saudi Arabia,
And,
Pakistan,
yeah,
all of these countries.
I don't think he would have thought that, look, these are the only guys who will be supporting my agenda internationally,
Right.
right? And he's lost Canada virtually today. I mean, getting back
Europe.
Canada
He's
from
also Europe,
Canada
isn't it? Yeah.
It's going to be a uphill task.
Yeah.
And for that matter, even India, even for that
Yes.
matter, even Europe, the way Europe has gone, right? So I think the mistake Trump made is that he had dealt his friends and foes with the same hand,
Right.
right?
Right.
If he had only differentiated between the two,
Right.
right, things would have been okay. And at
Yeah.
some point of time, when I said differentiated between friend and foe, he was treating his friends like foes and foes like friends.
That's
The
right.
way he was
Yeah.
handling Russia, the way he was handling China, and considering the fact, this is something important. China and Russia responded to Trump's overtures, but have never given any reposed any trust in him. They've
Right.
dealt with him as a adversary.
Right. Right.
Okay. Whereas the rest of the lot, whether it's Canada, whether it is Europe, whether it is even the Middle East, right?
Yeah.
They knew he was not very great. Even Japan, Korea,
Yeah.
Australia, all these people knew that Trump was being not very kind to them, but yet they stuck to him. Yet they stuck to him. But now I think there's a time which has come where people are being forced to make decisions,
Right.
whether they want to go with Trump or not with Trump, or people going with China is out of question. What is a new thing? So I think that's where he's brought this whole pack of cards down.
House of Cards
And
down. That's right. Yeah.
yeah, and again, he is doing it at a time when he is conclusively hurting China.
Right.
We can talk of this first. How is he conclusively hurt China, and then we can go the thing, or whichever way you want. So I think this is where we are today.
Right.
We can take it on from wherever you want from there. Yeah,
Sure. So
your
hurting
views.
China, I think we discussed this in the past as well. How you mentioned in December, I remember, where you said that he was targeting Venezuela, Russia, Iran. They're all sources of cheap oil to China. I mean, China is the world's largest importer of energy, and they continue to get cheap oil from these three sources, discounted oil. So, if you don't have cheap oil, then you're going to think twice before invading Taiwan. I guess that is also one thing. So I think he was building up those hedges against China. He's announced this visit to Beijing. He said, "I'm going to be there in Beijing in April," but there's no talk after that. But he clearly wants to talk to Xi Jinping. I think first half of this year. So this we may discuss this, the G2 that they're talking about, whether it'll actually materialize. But Jan Shankar, I want to talk about India's skin in the game, how we have handled it. What's your appreciation of how India has handled, given the fact that there was so much optimism with Trump's arrival in the White House in the second term? We enthusiastically welcomed it, and I think during Operation Sindoor, we kind of realized that things have not played out the way we have, and ever since, we possibly now realize that we did the right things. Ever since we've maintained, I think, silence. Bureaucrats have been, diplomats have been very circumspect about how they speak, how they address this new threat. Um and of course, the Board of Peace, I think. The Indian bureaucracy has some of its advantages when it comes to this, fast moving 3D chess diplomacy. They try to play, safe, exactly as we did with the invasion of Iraq. If you remember, in 2003, we were asked to commit forces, and how the
Yeah,
government, we didn't. There was a section, there was a division in the CCS. I mean, that was incredible. How there were two very important voices, ministers who were in favor of sending troops to Iraq, and there were two others who weren't in favor of that. And of course, Prime Minister Vajpayee weighed in the favor of the people who didn't want to send troops. So similarly, I think the Indian bureaucracy has played their cards right. The diplomats have been right on this one. The Board of Peace invite has come, but we said we are still studying it. I think it doesn't seem like we are going to be joining that. But how have we handled Trump, and what do you think is going to be the strategy? Are we going to wait out the storm till about November? or we have got EU is our backup plan. What we just saw, the mother of all
Yeah,
deals, the 27th. That also I
yeah,
wanted you to talk a bit about. How
yeah. We'll do
significant
that.
is
We'll get to that. Look,
thing?
my
Yeah,
view is we have to understand one thing. USA is not our enemy. It can
right,
never be our enemy. But it can never be our friend also beyond a point. And that's
right,
what has emerged in the past 1 year. One
right,
year back, if you had asked me, I would have said, look, it is our
mm,
friend. That's how it
right,
was. But
right,
things
right,
flip, right? When did the things flip? They didn't flip with tariffs. They didn't flip with Russian oil. No.
right, right.
They flipped with Sindoor.
Okay.
They flipped with Sindoor. Let's be very clear. There are two things in Sindoor. One is we denied Trump his Nobel Prize. We
His,
didn't acknowledge that his thing, that hurt
yeah,
his ego. Well, very
yeah.
clearly, it hurt his ego. Okay. And the second thing I think is something else, which is more deep. On the morning of 10th May,
Yeah, yeah,
when we hit Pakistan all around,
yeah,
if we had continued, just think if you had continued that till the evening
right,
and you had another round where you hit Pakistan elsewhere and Pakistan
right,
had got completely degraded,
right, right.
it would have come to a point of complete altering the balance in this entire area. It would have it
Ah,
would have been a it would have been a balance which would have altered the landscape completely.
right.
Okay. Apart from the fact that could Pakistan have threatened India with a nuclear thing and all that, which I'm very clear they couldn't have that day because we've discussed about it. On
Yes,
10th
yes,
morning, there was no way Pakistan could have threatened a nuclear thing against India. On that, I have
right.
never had a doubt, right? Because of many things which we did. I don't think
Yeah,
they were
yeah,
in shape, but
yeah,
they were in the verge of altering the balance. If
right.
that balance had gone and Pakistan had gone down, the costs for USA would have been very high on two counts. One, they were on the verge of going into Iran. So they couldn't have had a country which is completely unbalanced when they
Right,
were entering Iran. And after all,
right.
that Iran Israel thing started immediately after Op Sindoor. I think
June,
on
yeah,
7th or 8th. Yeah,
yes,
right. And then, so that was on the cards. And the second thing was a Pakistan which was unbalanced could have collapsed internally and fragmented. And then,
ah, right, right.
if that happens, what happens to those nukes? And would they threaten the homeland in USA?
Oh,
And
so they were
so
thinking ahead. Yeah, that's right.
ahead. So I don't think either of those, the short term and the long term,
Yeah,
permitted, um, you know, Trump to do anything but save Pakistan. Okay, and of course, the next is of Pakistanis went and licked his boots clearly, and
yeah, yeah, yeah,
the
of
ego
course.
part of it came,
Right.
and that flip happened. And after that, our refusal to acknowledge his role in any
Yeah,
way,
in the
okay,
ceasefire. Yeah,
ceasefire and let's face facts. I'm sure people would have spoken to. In fact, it's on record. The Saudis spoke to us.
yeah,
Everyone spoke to us, right? Whose word we listened before we went in and did a thing with Pakistan is a matter of history. History will tell us.
yeah, yeah.
But we couldn't have, agreed to this ceasefire with Pakistan without some amount of outside advice, influence, whatever you
Third
call it,
party involvement, you're
third
saying.
party involvement. It could be
Right,
third party or third parties in plural.
right, right, right.
Okay, someone would have said, and so that flipped the whole thing. And after that, things have gone south on
Yeah,
trade and politically
yes,
and everything. And for a long time, we were actually a bit of wilderness. If
yeah,
you
yeah.
best part of last year, we
Mm,
were, we didn't know where we were. Where we had a problem with, China, a
right.
problem with Pakistan, the issue with Bangladesh, which was there, and also the fact that remember, even China went bust. Not China, Nepal went bust in this period.
Yes, yes,
Instability around our in our neighborhood, and all this we were going through our own issues, right?
yeah,
Uh, Only Russia to lean on was not a great option for us. After all, Russia has got limitations. Economic
Yeah.
limitations of Russia are huge, right? And all this, till I think somewhere Trump overplayed his hand with the EU. And
Right.
the EU, you see, EU came under pressure. I mean, you have to understand why this FTA came. The FTA didn't come because India and EU were great friends. After all, this FTA was in,
2007. It's been in the works since
17,
almost
18
two
years, two
decades.
decades
Yeah.
you've been, yeah, and no one bothered. In the last 9 months, everything changed.
Yeah.
So why? You have to understand what the EU was going through.
Hmm.
EU had gone, EU and its constituent states had gone to China, it had gone to USA, both, and they were not getting any way out,
Right.
right? And especially with China, EU, Germany, France, all these big countries in EU were overcommitted into China, and China was not letting go. Okay, because China couldn't let go. China needs a market. If that
Yeah.
export and economy collapse, China goes down completely.
Yeah.
Right? That might happen still. That we'll see. So they couldn't, and China, of course, wants to dominate the world. And in the beginning of last year, Xi Jinping was still on a high. He had not got off the high. Things were, new tech and high tech and robots and this EV and solar and batteries. He was on that high. Okay. On the other hand, you saw Trump coming in and ratcheting up tariffs and talking of, the Russia war. He wanted to settle the Russia-Ukraine war without getting Europe. After all, he had this meeting with Putin in Anchorage, and he had his
Alaska.
own
Yeah.
thing, Alaska, to get Putin on his side against Russia. So all those things were happening, right? All those, the reverse Kissinger talks and all that. I mean,
Yeah.
people forget all that.
Yeah.
So I think so. Europe was getting politically, geopolitically squeezed. They were not happy with Russia. They were not happy with China. They were not happy with the, uh, US, and the tariffs on top of that. They felt humiliated, and then all that. So they had, which was the choice left for them? There was no choice. And on the
Right.
other hand, here is India sitting, the fastest growing economy, a lot of market, everything, and good democracy, more trustworthy. You see, one of the things about India which many people miss out is trustworthy. We are
Yeah.
trustworthy. Trust is a great factor in India's favor.
Yeah.
So the EU started coming into the game here,
And stability,
right?
political stability as well.
Yeah, so I think all that. So the EU is the bigger, mover towards India. India was always ready to do a deal with EU.
Yeah.
We were okay, especially after the fact that we were under 50% tariffs from USA, and China was putting pressure on us to open our markets with very little being given back to us. And that high fly thing of that SEO meet and parade and all that. So we were in a tight corner, and I think we played our cards well. We went to Japan, Prime Minister went to Japan. I'm taking you back to the SEO meet. He went
Yes.
to Japan first, then he went to the SEO meet and quit before that parade took place. He didn't endorse what Xi Jinping was saying. He had a one-to-one with Putin. That photograph
Yeah.
of Putin, Mr.
In the
Modi,
car.
and
Yeah.
right, angered Trump. All those things have happened.
Yeah.
Okay, so one thing led to the other, and finally we are here where we are. EU then slowly started. It has around that time itself. It was clear, November, December, that the
Yeah.
EU-India trade deal would happen. The EU had made up its mind.
Yeah.
We were also very clear. The moment we were clear that, okay, we have an outlet with EU, Brazil came around that time. Brazil also came strong. They said,
Yeah.
let's have a deal. Japan was pretty clear about it. So I think all these factors put together gave us also a clarity of thought that, look, we can hold on as far as USA is concerned.
Right.
We don't have to, go into a deal which is politically not acceptable to us. And politically, America, being an American ally the way America wants, or a partner the way America wants, was not acceptable to us because it's not in our DNA. It's not now.
That's right.
Ever since, we've never been that way. We've
Yeah.
always been, we call it non-aligned, autonomous, whatever you call it. We've
Yeah.
been that
Yeah.
way. We've lost a
Multi-aligned.
lot, but
Yeah.
yeah. So I
Right.
think that's the setting. If you see overall how things have moved. Uh, these are my in this thing. Before we take it forward, your views on some of these issues which I've
Yeah.
said, and then we can.
Absolutely. So, so what you said, Jan Shankar, it makes it very unlikely that India will join the Board of Peace
Yeah.
because, 20 years down the line, we play for history, right? So, if there is a stance that we have, is multi-alignment, it's not being part of any power block, not part of any organization that is not under the auspices of the UN. The Board of Peace appears to be something, a parallel setup to the United Nations, which he's trying to set up there. Um, I don't see us being part of that. So I have a feeling that we are just buying time with this to say, yes, we are studying the proposal. But I have serious doubts whether we will be part of this. But at the same time, there is one very important thing that we discussed over the last two podcasts, which is the IMEC, the India Middle East Europe Economic Corridor, which is really today, I think it's held up only because of the disputes between MBS and MBZ. That Saudi UAE rapprochement, without that happening, I think that IMEC will not be realized to its potential. There is a land bridge existing. I checked. There are trucks that are moving between Jebel Ali and Haifa. 300 trucks a day is what the figures are. But we have to understand that one train can take 300 trucks. So that rail route is so important for, and till the time Saudi and UAE don't sort out their differences, I think that is going to be there. You see this IMEC being held hostage to Trump's whims and fancies.
I'll talk of both these. First we'll talk of the Board of Peace. The Board of Peace fundamentally is a good idea. I
Yeah,
mean, I'm going now against the common thinking, right? You need, if China can start its global governance initiative, why can't America start a Board of
right,
Peace? I mean, let me put it right. What is it GGI all about? GGI was
right.
all about an alternate to UN, a China-led world order.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
UN, the way it is today, nothing can be done through the UN. So if it is not there, then the Board of Peace is a good alternative. It gives a
right,
counterweight and it gives you. Uh, that's my thinking even now. The Board of Peace is not a bad idea,
right,
but the execution is poor. The execution
right,
is Trump centric.
right, right.
Okay,
He's the
it
chairman
is
of the
Trump.
board.
So if suppose it was not so and it was in a different format and it was more attractive, uh, probably things would have been better. But having seen the way things are moved, especially after the EU-India deal, and especially what happened in Davos,
Yeah,
especially after the Greenland fracas,
yeah,
okay, with EU now pivoting away geopolitically from USA to a large extent,
yeah, yeah.
okay. Uh, so the Board of Peace doesn't make sense anymore. I mean, I don't see
Right.
the requirement of India paying $1 billion,
Yeah,
going and joining that Board of Peace and getting photographs next to Asim Munir and Shahbaz Sharif. Okay,
right.
that's a you don't need to do that. Okay, and whether Trump is there in that picture or not, you're not going to pay $1 million for this kind of a nonsense. So
Right.
I think the Board of Peace is,
1
you
billion.
know,
1 billion is what he's
1
asking
billion.
for.
Yeah, 1 billion.
That's almost 9,000 crore rupees.
So the point is, you don't need to for a photograph with Asim Munir. Yeah,
Yeah,
let's be very clear about it.
right,
Okay, so I think the Board of Peace also, if you see, even Europe, after having done this deal with us, Europe has very conclusively said we are not interested in what Trump is doing.
yeah,
Look, Europe is building its own leverages against Trump. Remember, it is just not
yeah.
we who are in a corner.
That's
Europe
right.
is also wiggling it out. Europe, after its deal with us, has very clearly said to China to lay off
Right,
with complete silence. With USA, it is building its own, leverages. Okay, and not signing with Board of Peace is a political leverage it is building.
Right.
Okay, so and by signing with India, it is telling, look, you forget your market, I open my market. I have, and everyone in Europe is going to support this deal. After all, Europe combined has got the same economy as much of USA.
US,
So
absolutely.
right, and you see the whining from Besant and all those fellows coming
Yeah, yeah,
out.
yeah, of course, of course.
Yeah, so I think that is where Board of Peace is. I think the Board of Peace with its 20 odd members who are now signed up. And who are the
Yeah.
guys? They're all the Middle Eastern guys, and we leave it at that. And good we didn't join the Board
Yeah.
of Peace. Something interesting has happened which vindicates our stand and reinforces our stand. The foreign minister of Palestine, there's a
Yeah.
lady who's in India today,
Right.
and she's talking of India. So you are not gone to Gaza or Palestine, but Palestine is coming to us.
Right.
It
Right.
shows your equity. It might be
Yes.
just an one lady who came, but it's a foreign minister of the Palestinian Authority,
Yeah.
where Mr. Modi has gone and visited them. We have a stance clear, and
Hmm.
they have come. One. Number two, even in this recent thing, resolution against Iran, which was where IRGC was supposed to be a terrorist state, AO, all that.
Yeah.
We have
Yeah.
voted against it. We've said, no,
Yeah.
in principle, we don't get this kind of a thing done. We voted against that on principle rather than being against anyone. And Iran has responded, positively. So the equities which we have in this region are now coming out.
Right.
And those equities are very strong. And people are realizing that, look, India has equities all around,
Yeah.
which it is now choosing to use, which is huge. From
Yeah.
being reactive to being proactive is huge.
Yeah.
Okay. And to the extent that yesterday, our Prime Minister has had a call with Delcy Rodriguez of Venezuela to open up,
Yeah.
and she has responded. She has responded positively, mind you.
Right.
Incidentally, for those of you who don't know, Delcy Rodriguez is a Bhakt of Puttaparthi, Sai Baba.
Puttaparthi Sai Baba, yes.
She
Both
comes
she
with,
and Maduro and Maduro's wife, they've all
yeah,
been here.
they've all been
Multiple.
here. So there are strong links which, that's why I said India has got unseen equities,
Yes.
which we are now choosing to utilize. So the Board of Peace, I think, is going to become irrelevant in a matter of time. But you need that instrument to do anything you want to do in Gaza. Whether that
Yeah.
Rivera will come up there is all a different story. But I
Right.
think some mechanism has to be there to continue. Gaza, I don't see any solution for that. Okay. Yeah, it's only that Pakistan will keep getting squeezed there. We'll see how that happens. Now talk of
Right.
IMEC. Now, IMEC, I think, is going to become a reality,
Right.
right?
Because
IMEC
of
is
the
going
trade
to,
deal.
yeah,
The pressure on it will be so much because of the trade deal
yeah,
and the
it is.
tariffs, zero tariffs.
Now the EU will come into play.
Right.
I'll explain this to you with the
Yeah.
map here. Look, the IMEC is important for these guys in,
Western Europe.
yeah, Europe. No, even Eastern Europe.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, earlier the IMEC was going from here, going to UAE, going through Saudi Arabia, and going to Haifa
Yeah.
and out.
Jebel Ali to Haifa. Yes.
Yeah, but today you have this Red Sea route.
Yes. Yeah.
UAE has got good equities in Yemen.
Yemen,
You've got good equities in Somaliland. So that means
Somaliland.
your route to the Red Sea is open and
Right.
on to Suez Canal and out and to
But,
Piraeus.
Jan Shankar, sorry to interrupt, but the Red Sea route, wasn't the UAE, Jebel Ali Haifa route meant to shorten the Red Sea route?
Yeah, I
Uh,
agree with you. No, I agree with
for a
you.
week, I think, almost a week.
I agree with you that the original concept of the IMEC was to avoid the route over the overland route over Turkey or
Yeah.
the Red Sea route
Red Sea
completely,
corridor.
right? But the way it is, things are moving out today. That
Yeah.
the alternate to the IMEC is the Red Sea route.
Okay. Okay. Right.
Okay, the alternate to the IMEC itself is the Red Sea route. And my way of thinking and my logic is with UAE and Israel,
Yeah.
UAE and Israel acting in concert and being able to open the Red Sea route, okay, and Suez Canal and on to Piraeus. Now, in Piraeus, interestingly, in Greece, some of our Indian companies have already gone and set up shop there.
Right.
Mindtree and all these have set up shop. Piraeus is going to be the main port, and from Piraeus, things will go on to EU. So there's a pull from EU coming, and Israel, Greece, and Cyprus forming a pact with India
Right.
also joining it, likely to join. Israel has
Right.
invited us. So all these things are going to change. After all, next month when our Prime Minister goes to Israel, all these issues will come up.
Yes.
Now, there's another angle I want to bring in, which people obviously people think that in this whole story, Saudi Arabia is the odd man out because
Yeah. Yeah.
in IMEC, Saudi was part of the deal. But my own guess is Saudi will come in, and for two
Yeah.
reasons. At this point of time, as all this is happening, the Arab League, we are meeting the Arab League here, and the India Energy Week and
Yeah.
EU. There is also a discussion between India and Saudi Arabia in Riyadh about the cooperation on security and counter-terrorism and all that.
Right.
So our bridge to Saudi Arabia has not gone out. That's the first thing.
Right. Right.
The second thing is, you see, uh, Saudi Arabia and MBS have
Mm.
invested a lot into NEOM, the NEOM,
Neom. Yeah, the city in the Red Sea. Yeah.
Red Sea.
Yeah.
Now, if NEOM has to succeed,
Yeah.
where will it have to go through? You need the Red Sea and the IMEC, no?
Yeah. Yeah.
So today, and my own feeling is Saudi Arabia has invested too much into NEOM and other things, and its oil revenues might not be that much. I'll come to that the oil game because a lot depends on that India Energy Week and oil.
Yeah.
So you might find Saudi Arabia coming back into this IMEC story in some manner, and to facilitate that IMEC story through whichever route, okay, it will be India. No one else
Right.
has the equity to get push it through.
They need to build that
Okay.
railway line, no? The GCC
Yeah. So
railway corridor.
we might not have the railway line immediately, but in
Okay.
Saudi Arabia joining this whole story might come
Yeah.
faster, and then the
Right.
railway line might come up. So
Yeah.
IMEC will happen in a manner which one didn't realize it will happen, and
Right.
IMEC might happen in a manner without USA.
Okay.
That's the interesting part. Okay, it might
That's
happen.
that's an irony because the IMEC is born out of the Abraham Accords, which was a
Abraham
Trump
Accord.
initiative.
Yeah.
Yeah, entirely
So
Trump and his son-in-law Jared Kushner.
yes, Jared Kushner, and they did it, and the IMEC was also something which Mr. Trump spoke of when Mr. Modi went last year to USA. He said, "I'm looking at a great corridor from India to Europe to USA, and a lot of things will move and all that." Now that story is somewhere out. Okay, so the point is, well, willy-nilly, this IMEC I think is now going to be a reality because and people will come in. See again, India's equity here. I mean, I'll go back to the map because people will understand only with the map. You look at this place, the Horn of Africa,
Horn of Africa,
Somalia.
yeah.
Okay, Somalia is a critical player in this whole story. To Somaliland, willy-nilly. I mean, Israel has recognized it. Even UAE has willy-nilly recognized Somaliland. Incidentally, right? So south of this, the routes are free. North, Yemen, UAE is ensuring things are going through. So Houthis are being tackled in a different manner, and that if that route is open, and another thing is India will not be interfered by Houthis. Indian shipping
Right.
has never been interfered by
Has
Houthis.
not been here. Yes. Yes.
You see, again, Indian equities will come into play.
Yeah.
The Palestinians coming and supporting India will come into play, right? We
Yeah.
might not like Hamas. We don't like, but they are not. Hamas doesn't represent the complete Palestinians, right?
No.
So Palestinians coming in will help us. Somalia, the Deputy Prime Minister of Somalia was here. If you remember, we spoke of this last week also. He speaks chaste Hindi.
Yeah.
So,
I
right?
saw
So
that.
we
Yeah.
have equities here. See,
Right.
we have equities in this area called the Middle East and Horn of Africa and all that. So all those equities will come into play now, and it will open. The moment this happens, Sandeep, uh, things are going to happen. In fact, today morning I read uh, a tweet by Mr. Piyush Goyal
Yeah.
that all tricky things in the India-US deals are done. So
Oh,
it's
he
only
said
the
that. Okay,
political.
right. That's yeah.
Okay, done. There's nothing left to deal with USA.
Right.
Either USA takes the deal or it doesn't take the deal. It takes the deal, fine. If it doesn't take the deal, it's political in nature.
Right. But
Okay.
coming to the
Yeah.
outlier, General Shankar, the attack on Iran, because right now all the US battle fleets are in position, their warships are there, submarines are there, the Abraham Lincoln is ready to strike, and Trump has been, forcing the Iranians to give a deal. You think there will be a strike, or it will just kind of peter out?
Okay. Let's look at it this way. What does Trump want from Iran? Let me
He
ask you that question.
three guarantees. He wants the end of their nuclear program. He wants them to stop giving oil to China.
I know.
And what's the third one?
Okay.
The
Right.
axis of
So,
resistance. Their whole
yeah,
Hamas Houthi to stop supporting them. So that's
supporting. He wants a nuclear deal.
yeah,
He wants basically two things. I'll put
yeah,
it this way. One is the Iranian nuclear program is capped.
yeah,
Okay. And it is under monitoring so that a threat from Iran to homeland America doesn't take place.
right,
That's his worry. Simple. Otherwise, why is he bothered about whatever happens in Iran and nuclear? Threat to USA from Iran and a radical element doesn't take place. Period. Okay. He is not bothered whether mullahs rule Iran or not and all that. He'll do the same Venezuela trick on Iran. What has he done in Venezuela? He's taken their oil, and
right,
Venezuela has agreed to that whole story of oil.
yeah,
And Delcy Rodriguez and the same people, except Maduro, are doing everything.
yeah, yeah.
That's a
So
deal.
it's a
He's not bothered
compromise. I
about
think yeah,
it. Not a matter of compromise. The matter is he's not bothered about what happens to Venezuelan people and all that. He's not interested. He
yeah.
says, "You do what you want. Give me
So
what
he's
I
not
want."
bothered with Iranian people either. You think?
He's not bothered. Why? It doesn't matter whether mullah rules him or anyone else rules. He's not interested in the political future of Iran. He is
Right,
interested in ensuring that Iran is no threat
right,
to him or his assets or anything else in the vicinity or in USA. That's the first thing. The second thing is US way of controlling the world is through energy. So if there's a regime in Iran, whichever way, it could be the same Khamenei continuing, okay?
yeah,
There's a regime in Iran which listens to Trump. He'll lift the sanctions off and get the Iranian oil on the market.
market,
The
yeah, yeah,
moment the Iranian oil comes into the market, okay, China today then faces multiple problems. See, the indication of that is the fact that I think 1 week back, uh, the Americans have confiscated a Iranian vessel bound to
yeah,
China.
right,
Okay, and that has come out in. I didn't know this. It's not come out anywhere. Today morning in the South China Morning Post, that's come.
right,
Which means he's already threatening the dark fleet of Iran
right.
actively, like he's threatened the Russian fleet.
Russian dark
Okay.
fleet, yes.
So can China do anything about it? China can't do anything about it because it's its weakest. चाइना वो तो जी जिनपिंग और जैंग युग्जा के बीच में लड़ रहे हैं वो कौन सा प्लान भेजेगा इधर करने के लिए कुछ नहीं कर
Right,
पाएगा. China is
right,
very weak today. Let's be very
yeah,
clear. Okay, and as a result, Trump can succeed. Let me be very this thing.
With
If
Iran, is it? He'll make
in
a
Iran,
Venezuela out of
yeah,
Iran.
see, it's one thing to say, you know, how does Iran last out? Can Russia help Iran out?
No.
Can China help Iran out? What are the what cards does Iran have to play? Okay,
Has the energy
and let it,
card. It has the nuclear option.
so these are the cards. These cards Trump wants the way he wants, and
Yeah.
Iran is prepared to give it to them because see again, look at the Iranian calculation. Why Iran will if they're given a carrot of I'll take sanctions of you and I'll let your oil come
Yeah.
into the
Yeah.
market.
Yeah.
Iran will say, okay, let him come and do whatever he wants. I can still rule Iran.
Regime
Um,
survival. The number one
regime
priority is regime
survival. There's
survival.
regime
Yeah.
survival, and my money, everything will come back. Yeah, why should I bother?
Yeah.
I can keep
The
killing
economy
any
will
number of
be,
people,
the economic pressure will be lifted off. The pressure on the
lifted off
economy
and
will be
all that,
lifted.
right? And let me also play. And I have not got anything from China.
Hmm.
And 12 aircraft or 20 aircraft coming from China to Iran won't solve the military problem of Iran. Let's be very clear.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not going to help. So what do you do?
That's token support. I just
Uh,
say.
so the point is, you are at a stage where, yeah, I don't rule out an odd strike. I don't rule out a missile attack. I don't rule out an air attack. Also, I don't rule out a small raid. I don't
Right.
rule out an assassination.
Right.
It's not that force won't be used against Iran. Force could be used against Iran.
Yeah. Yeah.
The only thing is how much. It'll be calibrated force. Okay.
No, the
So
fact is, IRGC has declared the EU has declared IRGC a terrorist organization. That
terrorist
opens up
organization.
the possibility of strikes
Yeah.
on IRGC. We were striking at a
IRGC.
terror organization.
So there is a chance of this happening. Also, let's not forget one thing: the EU and USA are not enemies. Huh? Please,
Yeah. Yeah.
they're still allies.
Oh, they're
They're still part
absolutely
of
they're allies.
NATO.
Yes.
Just because
They're
they have
part
done a trade deal with India, it doesn't put them against. They're building
no.
leverages. This is part
Yeah.
of international relations and how games are played. Okay, and EU also says, look, Trump has backed off from Greenland. There might be a deal, a
Yeah.
deal in Greenland, and it's heading to a deal. But
Yeah.
they're not enemies. They're
Yeah.
bound over 70 years. That's not going to break. So things, I think we have to be patient to see what's happening.
Yeah.
But I'll come to the thing which I've always maintained, and I think I've spoken of this earlier. We are in a position where we are not in any major conflict.
Yeah. We are possibly, yeah, that's right. We're blessed that way. You said that when we were in my office and you were talking about this.
We are not in any major conflict. Our trade is doing well.
Yeah.
Our consumption, which is the anchor of our growth, will not run away. Okay, all our sectors are going okay, and everyone needs us at this point of time. We are peaceful. We are in a situation where China was 20 years back. You
Yeah.
remember that time. I always remind people, at that time, war against terror, a lot of things happening in the Middle East. I mean, look at it. It started with the Twin Towers coming down, and we having this entire area was under thing.
Hmm.
America was involved, EU was involved. I mean, after all, ISAF was involved, Gulf Wars, this, that, all that in the past 25 years. What was China doing? It was having a ball.
Hiding its
Yeah,
strength and biding its
totally.
time. Yeah.
But it was progressing without anyone. In fact,
Yeah.
everyone wanted China at that point of time, including India. But I think now the roles have reversed.
Oh, we are where China was. That's a very interesting analogy that we are where China was 25 years back.
Of course, with the little difference, we have our own problems, but largely we are there. And we are in a better position to handle all these issues. I thought these were the issues, and you have any anything else you want to discuss today? And
Just yeah. In conclusion, one quick thing where I wanted to say this earlier when you mentioned why the United States was upset with Op Sindoor, and that that balance was that destabilized on the subcontinent with Pakistan, with what happened on the 10th of May. I was going back to what Henry Kissinger told me many years back, when he had come to Delhi for the India Today conclave. I was his liaison. So I spent a lot of time with this man. And so obviously, what is the first question that any Indian is going to ask Henry Kissinger? Why do you send the Seventh Fleet in? And his answer was very interesting. And when you said this, I was reminded of that. He said that it was not to prevent what was going on in East Pakistan. He says, we knew East Pakistan had fallen. There was no way we could have saved them. It was a message to India not to interfere in the West. And that would kind of have completely destabilized Pakistan, that probably led to a collapse of Pakistan. If we had moved all our forces from the East to the West, and they were very vulnerable at that point. So, when you mentioned that, it struck me that the US is all about, keeping that so-called thing of a balance in, place so that it suits them. Pakistan suited their interests as it does now, even more possibly than it was then. Then it was against the Soviet Union.
yeah,
Now it is against China and Iran. So I think that point is very well made. So that's one thing. The US, of course, looks at things from a slightly zoomed out perspective, right? Because they have an overview. We look at things, I think, slightly more in a narrower perspective, because Pakistan is on our western border, China is on our north. But what interesting times, General Shankar. It has just been 31 days of the new year. Exactly 31 days today. And it feels like 6 months have passed into
yeah,
2026. It's like days, every day is like 1 week in geopolitics.
geopolitics. Yeah. Other day I was listening, someone mentioned it, and I was listening to an astrologer of all things. And
Okay.
no, and I don't know. I mean, but he made some sense. He says at this point of time, the Jupiter is closest to the Earth.
Right.
And he says every time the Jupiter transits so close to the Earth, things start happening.
Okay.
And okay, and he says this is a time when things will happen at great speed.
Right. Right.
Out Unintended outcomes take place.
Yeah.
And he says, people have to be a little cool, sit down, and not go with the thing. I
Right.
found that bit a little interesting. I mean, but I found that thing is whether Jupiter is close and events are happening because of Jupiter is another story. But I found that fundamental thing that look, things are happening at pace.
Yes.
We need to sit back a bit.
Right. Right.
There's a lot of euphoria in India. Oh, everything is happening and all. These things don't happen because it's going to take time. There are pitfalls in this entire story, and you do things in a hurry, and
Yeah.
think that you want to match China and outmatch China or whatever you want. You want a UNSC seat and everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, in the thing that I've signed so many deals and everything will happen because of these deals. There's an exploitative nature of these deals also on our own system. So I think we should not lose sight of that. And we need to be cool because there are a lot of internal politics also happening.
Yeah.
You know, so we need to not get exuberant about all this entire story. We need to be a little balanced and get into it so that we have long-term benefits and not short-term outcomes.
Right. So I think the moral of the story is three words: be like India. Just take it, keep calm. There's a T20 match on, but you continue playing a Test cricket, this thing pace.
Yeah.
Not given to any, exuberance, and get imbalanced by what the speed of way things are moving out. I think we have played our hand fairly well in the last couple of months. Not given into the temptation of responding to everything that came our way, and I think it's been very measured in that sense. At times, we criticize our bureaucrats and our diplomats and all that, but I think there's a wisdom to their ways. Uh, and I'm going back to my bureaucrat friend, General Shankar, many years back again. I keep repeating this, I know, but he said this thing about why no fighter jets from the United States. He's very clear. We'll never buy fighter jets from the United States because they will always,
Yeah.
decide the wars that they want you to fight. They will only give you jets
Yeah.
for that kind of a thing. So it's all about control for them. And for us, fighter jets is a very important thing. That's why we've gone with the French and the Russians. But having said that, I must say that we did get our jet engines from the United States, and I think a
Yeah.
lot of people will be, very worried about that, the consequences of that decision that was made more than a decade ago. But that said, I think this is
We'll
this
take a
a
few
cricket match
questions.
we keep coming back to, every week. Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. The first one is, would the outcome of the first night of Op Sindoor be different if IAF had gone for SIAD first? Your view.
Oh, absolutely. There would have been, no doubt in our minds. But then there would be a problem here because I think the
You would have
Indian
started a
leadership,
war.
you would have started. Exactly. The Indian leadership wanted to be very clear that they were not striking at the Pakistan military, they were striking at the terrorist infrastructure.
Yeah.
Uh, if you started Op Sindoor on 7th by attacking the Pakistan military, your larger message would have been lost, that you were only striking at the Pakistan thing.
Yeah.
So I
You
think
couldn't
in
have
that
done.
sense, we couldn't
No,
have.
you couldn't have done it. You couldn't have
Yeah,
done it.
it is
Couldn't have
war. Yeah, it would have
war.
maybe altered the tactical outcome of that first engagement on the 7th of May. Yeah, and the tactical outcome is in the terms of the fighter aircraft
We
that were
lost.
lost. Yeah, that. But I think the larger strategic thing, it would have been completely in disarray. And
Yeah,
I
I
think we
agree.
want to, establish the thing that we were against terrorism emanating from Pakistan and not the state of Pakistan. We did not want to go to war with Pakistan. So we would have been painted as aggressors. I think that is the larger. But your views on this, Jan Shankar?
No, I go with you. Let's
Right.
take the next one. Uh, is all this what DJT is doing because he wants to retain dollar hegemony, whereas the big three RIC going away from it slowly but surely? But when can we expect the hegemony gone? Yeah, you have any views on this?
I want to hear what you have to say about this, Jan Shankar. This
Look, I don't think the dollar hegemony is going anywhere. Okay, and RIC is the
another 20 years. Yeah,
RIC, Russia, India, China is not going to happen. Let's be very clear.
yeah,
Okay, the chances of RIC happening are next to zero, or
right.
rather lesser than zero. Okay, that's my view. Okay,
Yes,
so dollar hegemony will not run away. To a certain extent, what is going to happen is dilution of the dollar being used as a reserve currency unabashedly.
yeah.
There will be movements of local currency settling and all. After all, international settlements happen with the basket of currencies.
Yeah,
Right?
yuans
Right?
and all of those.
Everyone. Okay. So a certain amount will happen.
Yeah,
So I don't think things will. I don't see any hegemony going away. Dollars. Look, remember, USA still got the most powerful economy. USA still got the most powerful military. It's
yeah,
got the most stable political system. However, you know, confused it seems at this point of time, or
yeah,
personalized it seems at this point of time. They've got a hegemony, so don't expect anything great to change.
yeah.
Okay, right. Then next is, when we say India's growth is because of internal consumption, essentially, we are saying that our middle class has money to buy stuff, unlike the middle class in China. Is that correct?
Disposable incomes. I think that's the word for it.
Yeah, we have more disposable income, and we have our. It's a matter of culture,
Yeah,
right? It's a matter of culture. So I think it's a matter of culture which is more important than anything else. Uh, yeah, this is a comment the oil sourcing is a major vulnerability. Nation can be brought to knees without firing a shot by whoever controls it and routes. Your views?
Completely, I completely agree with you, and we've just seen that happening. The fact that
Uh,
how Trump is now targeting the oil routes, the dark fleets of the Russian Federation, and now of Iran, and he's clearly seen that as a way of controlling, nations. And I think that has altered China's behavior because, like you said, there's no way the Chinese are going to send the PLA Navy out there to
yeah,
fight the United States over this thing. So they have no option but to look for other alternatives. And I think China's biggest thing would be an overland oil and gas route from the Russia. That's not happening yet. It'll take a
that's
while.
not
It'll
happening.
take a while as well.
Yeah, problem is even if a trade deal is signed today, Trump may say tomorrow it's a stupid deal and question who signed it. I don't think that'll happen.
No,
But
no.
your view?
No, I think he'll if he signs a deal with India, that it's a deal that he signed.
He
There's
owns
no.
it. He owns it. He'll
Yeah,
go
that's
to
right.
town saying, "I've got the deal."
Absolutely. I got a deal from the Indians. They were, holding out for so long. And I can see his, rhetoric after that. What a great deal we got. The greatest deal with India ever. All that.
Yeah. So, Board of Peace potentially could cause problems to IMEC. Would it?
Interesting. I don't see a problem there because IMEC you would see heavy Israeli investment. I mean, it is all IMEC is so important to Israel because Haifa, it's centered around Haifa. And there's no way the Israelis would allow that to be disrupted,
Yeah, yeah.
because it mainstreams their economy. It links them up to Europe. It links them to India and all that. And I'm sure they will work very hard. We'll see more of this. I think as the Prime Minister visits Israel next month, there will be some very significant announcements, I believe, and we'll see which way that IMEC route is going to go. Is it going to go via the traditional route, via the Red Sea, or will it be this
It
Saudi?
might be both. I mean, it's a good idea to have both, the way I look at
Yes, yes,
it. Right. Today, Arab nations met, 10 FMs met with our external affairs minister. What kind of a move is that? What might be the agenda here? Is it Arab League meet?
yeah,
Right. Look, it just says that the people there want India somewhere.
yes,
They
yes. We
know
are
that India
indispensable.
won't be on the
Yeah,
board of
India is
peace.
indispensable. Yeah.
Okay. Mm, yeah. Would like to see a YouTube series with General Shankar Sandeep explain how a new Indian weapons on site with our armed forces, like future weapon series on Discovery Channel.
Yeah,
I
that's a
think
good
it's a good
suggestion.
idea. Let's start that.
Yes, yes, yes. Let's do that, sir. This
Okay,
is
we'll take that on.
considering you're the
We'll-
only person I know who's not just an analyst but who's also developing stuff.
yeah,
The Ramjet round is something that we have. For all of you watching, please do watch this discussion with me and General Shankar. In fact, I'll hyperlink that thing. That we had a
yeah,
very
do that.
interesting discussion a few days back on the Ramjet round and why it's such a big deal. You should watch that.
Now, IEW was a grand success. Dialogue on networking happened. India Energy Week. Many energy companies were there, including a nuclear
Nuclear
pavilion.
propulsion.
I was there. Very good. Yeah, I have no doubt that Energy Week brought a lot of things into focus. It brought Brazil into the game. It brought even Venezuela into the game. A whole lot of guys, which this thing. So important thing is, instead of India going around everywhere begging for energy, people are coming here to sell energy. It's a change.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
an important thing. Yeah. Then let me see if there are any interesting questions. Yeah, what should our approach be to US while it is propping up Pakistan and is acting against our interests in Bangladesh and Nepal?
Well, your views, Jan Shankar. This is an interesting
Yeah,
question.
we have to play this by the year.
Yeah,
Very clearly, we have to play this by the year, and I don't think we'll have to live with this. uh, and we have to put it across to US that there's a line beyond which we'll not take it.
Monroe
We
Doctrine and
understand
Indian
that line,
and
right? We
Indian
have to put,
Modi Doctrine.
yeah, you have to do it. You have to draw your line in the sand at some point of time,
Yeah.
especially with Bangladesh. With Pakistan, they can do what they want. I'm okay with. In On the other hand, US involvement in Pakistan will be good because they'll counter Russia, they'll counter China.
China. Yeah.
Okay, and there'll be some control on Pakistan to some
Yeah.
extent. But Bangladesh is a no-go. That's
Yeah.
the way I look at it. Yeah, he says, what do you think will be the consequences if India decided to proceed with IMEC Sans USA start building the road and rail networks? In the interim, is it mainly Saudi UAE relations impeding IMEC? Your view?
I did mention this that MBS and MBZ, their rivalry is one thing, the Gulf Railway thing, that's another one. But I was just looking at the rhetoric that's coming out of Saudi Arabia. This Prince Turki came out with a very, very harsh thing of critique of Benjamin Netanyahu. And I want to see
Yeah.
whether that is the dominant Saudi view of Netanyahu and Israel. I mean, he's called him all kinds of names and all that. So the thing is that until some time, MBZ was okay with what was going on in Gaza, but we have to see where the politics has kind of moved on since then. Whether this, Israel Saudi thing, they're not very happy with the way Israel has been attacking Qatar and all of that. So that's destabilized the region quite a bit. So I think the Israel Saudi thing is also something that we have to watch out for. That is
Yeah, we'll see.
important.
Okay, spelling error. Trump means board of peace. I like that. Okay, I think with that, yeah, the thing he says, should India use the Xi Zhang tussle to push PLA back, PLA back? Yeah, what do you feel?
Well, I think it's too much of an internal thing. We've no skin in the game there.
Yeah, actually, at this point of time, we have a lot of skin in the way that it's good that
Yeah.
you have to keep your
He's
pulse.
preoccupied. Yeah, he's preoccupied with
keep-
his internal this thing. Yeah.
Okay, I think we're
Right.
done for the day, Sandeep.
Perfect.
Anything else
Thanks.
you have to
Thank you.
say?
Thank you very much, Jan Shankar. This great discussion as always. Trump versus the world. This is the emerging character of geopolitics, where I said that Trump is the literal equivalent of that assassin's bullet, which is completely altered geopolitics. And I think we've gone to a position of a point of no return. I don't think the world, even a post-Trump world, is not going to be the way it was pre 2024 or pre 2025. Nations are making their own choices, and fortunately, we didn't have to see two world wars for this. There are minor, wars and conflicts and confrontations and all, but fortunately, we don't have to see something like the World War One or the Second World War or anything. And these are going to be far more peaceful, even though they'll be as consequential. I see the rearrangement of power blocks and the rise of new nations, and most importantly, is all the third countries coming together, the medium powers, all of them coming together, as we saw with the India-EU trade deal. But this is an emerging story, and this is a story that we keep looking at from our lens over here at Chakra News and Gunner's Shot, our collaboration every Saturday morning, 9 a.m. IST. So don't forget to tune in and like, share, and subscribe to both our channels. Gunner's Shot, it's a one of a kind channel. It's a one-man show, but like I was telling Jen, we have to deploy a lot of resources to keep up with Gunner's Shot. And Chakra News also do follow us. We look a lot at defense, technology, geopolitics, of course, and we'll keep coming to you with the news of the week. We try and make sense of the world, and of course India's skin in the game every Saturday 9 a.m. IST. And with that, I hand it over to you, Janil Shankar. Thank you very much once again.
Thanks a lot, and have a great day. And look forward to this thing. And you must, all of you who are watching, subscribe to Sandeep's channel, Chakra News. right? And in
Thank
fact,
you.
next week we're going to do a few face-to-face sittings
Yes,
in his
yes.
studio. He's got a lovely studio. He comes out with great videos. Must watch them. I think he's the best defense journalist in India, the way I look
Oh,
at
thank
it.
you.
I've not
Thank you very
found
much.
anyone better.
Big honor.
With this,
Right.
I think let's sign off for the day. Have a great day, Sandeep, and have a great
Have a-
weekend too,
You
everyone.
too, Jan
And
Shankar. A great day and a great weekend. Bye bye.
bye.